UKLC is presented by Barclays and Curry's PC World.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UKLC. My name is Jake Hitbro Matthews, and I'm joined by the birthday boy himself, Dan Orks Harrison. Happy birthday, mate. How you feeling?
Thank you. I'm good. Yeah, you know, what better birthday present than some great League of Legends action? And today, last week of the regular season, it is so hype.
I can't believe we're on the final week of the UKLC. It's flown by. It's honestly flown by. We were talking to the NLC guys as well when we were doing that broadcast last week, and it didn't feel like we had 2 weeks left to go. I'm kind of sad that it's all over because it's been such a roller coaster for the last few weeks. I mean, for the entire season, every team's been able to beat any team. And we're still in the final week. We got 2 days left of games to play. All the teams have 2 more games left. And honestly, anything could happen still. There's so much going on. I think actually what we should do is just bring up the
I think the scoreboard.
We have to bring up the scoreboard and just see how everyone's doing. So at the top at the moment is Munster Rugby 9-3 in first place. Then it is London in second, 8-4. I think this is the first time we've actually had a defined first and second team in the league. And then underneath that, Enclave, Envision, Demise, and M&M are all tied up 7-5. And the 2 teams who are currently out of the race, unfortunately for them, are Barrage and Bulldog. Man, this is close. This is crazy how close it is.
And I got to remind you, we have 4 spots for playoffs. So out of those 4 teams who are tied up, 2 will be going and 2 will be going home. Obviously, I haven't fully checked, but I think there's a situation where London potentially... I know Munster are definitely safe, but I think London might be just on the edge, depending on how things go. But either way, regardless, it's still super close. These teams are still neck and neck. It could go in any sort of direction. And it's just what makes it so exciting, especially going into playoffs, because I think the biggest thing is not just the fact that we've seen teams beat other teams. We've seen massive resurgences. We've seen Enclave start the split really powerfully, and we're thinking this is a great team, fallen off really heavily, but still managed to maintain one of those upper spots. And then the likes of M&M, a great ramp up for the season, now looking a little bit shaky. Demise and Vision came in last week and absolutely just massacred everyone. It's been shifting expectations week on week, and that's why it's so hard to predict it. It's so hard to call this week who is going to come out ahead.
Honestly, a bad week for Munster, and they could lose first, and they could even go into third. Is it actually possible for Munster not to make playoffs if, like, all of the teams below them have a good week and they have a bad week? Is that actually possible?
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's because
they could definitely make third still, technically.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they can make third, but I think the issue with Munster getting knocked down below that point is there's quite a lot of teams playing each other, I think is the thing. And also on top of that, I think one of the issues is that the head-to-head's pretty good against everyone. So, for example, they're 2-0 against Enclave, they're 1-0 against Demise, they're 1-1 against M&M. The only team they've actually got a bad head-to-head is against London. So that's why it's really interesting, because London, if they match them in scoreline, they're ahead of them. So that 1 point difference isn't very much when you think about it, but they're pretty safe in the likes of Demise, Enclave, M&M, and Envision. London, it's a bit more precarious because only 1 point ahead, and their head-to-head is a little bit more varied. For example, they're down in head-to-head compared to Enclave, which could be problematic. And the fact that they're up against Munster is great if you can catch up to Munster. If you're slipping down and you're being gained on the other teams, it doesn't matter what your head-to-head is against Munster because you're not going to catch them in points. So I think a lot of these teams have really precarious positions, and I think this week is going to be super important.
It feels like now normally the front runners in the pack can kind of breathe a sigh of relief, but that is not the case here. All of these teams have a chance to make it the playoffs. All of these teams could have their seeding going into playoffs messed up, and it starts today. Let's have a little look at the schedule and see what everyone is playing. So we'll be starting off the day with Enclave versus Demise, a very important game. M&M taking on London, also an important game. Barrage versus Bulldog. This is a pride game. Bulldog looking for their first win of the season. And then we rounded the day out with Envision versus Munster Rugby. Every game of these has stakes. Every game here has stakes. And sure, the third one doesn't mean anything as far as the standings go, but that still feels important for me, especially if you're Bulldog right now. You don't want to go 0-30 and you want to get a win. If they can get a 2-0 week, that'd be incredible for them. And it also means that they could be able to upset the apple cart a little bit in the standings, but yeah, I mean, it's a tall ask.
we saw some really close games for Bulldog against the likes of London and Munster last week. I think I'm favoring them coming into this week. And I think it's sort of talking about the standards we're setting for this relegation tournament. Virage and Bulldog need to be shown that they're on top form before they head towards that, even if it won't affect the placements. But the other games, I mean, I think the most impactful is Demise versus Enclave, because these two teams are neck and neck with each other. Currently, it's Enclave who has a head-to-head advantage. If Demise wins this, not only are you claiming a point for yourself, but someone tied with you, your direct competition is losing. The other two games, although still very impactful, it's a bit of a difference. For example, Envision against Munster. Munster are quite a bit ahead of Envision. Yes, the win's important for both of them, but there's not too much interaction between them. And then on top of that, when we're looking at the likes of London against M&M, yes, that one is still super important, but London has a little bit more safety room. If M&M does win that one, London are still in okay position. But I think for me, the first game is one I want to hone in on. Demise versus Enclave. Either of them dropping this game would be disastrously bad, because you kind of relying on other teams like M&M and Envision to lose their games to really keep you alive with a chance. Otherwise, Enclave tomorrow, not only do they have to beat London, but they also have to hope that, again, the likes of M&M or Enclave, M&M and Envision or Demise lose. So it's huge.
For me, this first game is really exciting, especially off the back of Demise coming on this new upwards trend. They've been playing so much better for the last few weeks. There were question marks. They had this great start where it was, oh man, the Rifty show, best player in the league. And then people just started focusing Rifty, and Proxy wasn't really able to do too much with it. They introduced Beely to the roster. PFI has stepped up to the plate, and it just feels like everybody is now coming up and backing Rifty up in this team. And for Demise, they are on this upwards trend, and that's got to be scary if you're Enclave, because Demise are starting to look very, very strong. I mean, they do look very strong. They're in this big group of teams that are tied currently for that 3rd and 4th spot. And in their current form, I genuinely think we'll see them in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they've looked really good. Last week was just another team. We hadn't expected that yet. Proxy was a big one for me, particularly stepping up. So they had a great alternative carry. Beely was also a monster as well. And I think my biggest criticism of Demise had always been, sure, Rifty's great, but you need someone else to be offering pressure. You need someone else to be stepping up to the plate. And they now have several members who are doing that. So they look like a whole team, and just in time. And then we look at Enclave. This is possibly the worst time for Enclave to be on this downward trend, because it's been back and forth throughout the split. They've had a lot of situations where they're going 1-1 on the week, or sometimes they did have a 2-0 in week 4. Last week, though, they went 0-2. It was disastrous. It is their only 0-2 week, and has put them in a really difficult spot now, because the expectation is that they are struggling massively as a team. You've had a rough week where it looked like certain players were off point. Shogun had his worst performance I've seen in a while. Other members of the team not performing up to the standard we typically expect on them. And now you're up against Demise, who's really started to ramp up. And it's so important, this game. I honestly think that whoever loses this game won't make it to playoffs. They still can. It's still possible. Yeah. It just becomes very difficult. So I honestly think this is a fight to keep your hopes of playoffs alive. And both teams are going to come out with everything in this one.
This is going to be a very exciting game, so we're getting ready to go into it. We're going to cut to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll be back with Champ Select for Enclave versus Demise. We'll see you in a second. With the stakes high, we're getting ready to go into our first game of the final week of the UKLC. Enclave versus Demise. Enclave will be on the blue side, Demise on the red. Where's the focus going to be here? For me, I feel like if you're Enclave, leave Rifty. Rifty's champ pool is too wide. Maybe take away some of those power picks, but for the most part, I think you want to focus towards this bot and mid. Try and break the legs, let's say, of maybe the arguably weaker parts of the team. Beely's been pretty consistent, but how are Proxy and Chromax going to handle if they start to get focused out? The Elise is going to be the first ban, though. Pretty standard versus PFI.
Well, I think as well, we often see Enclave liking to play around the bot lane, so shutting down tools that can potentially be problematic. PFI's Elise can cause issue, especially if you commit to bot lane. PFI can very easily look to dive only Angel on the back of that champion. Right now, seeing a lot of sort of jungle bans initially. Wukong's technically a flex, but often seeing that a bit more top lane or bot lane. A lot of power picks still left open and available. The likes of Ashe, Karma, Karthus, Syndra, all really powerful tools that we've seen frequently banned in the first rotation, and likely we're going to see at least one of them slip through right now. And also, we are on 10.14 still. We've seen a lot of play on this patch now compared to before, where it was a little bit more tenuous. We've seen, LEC playing on this patch, so teams should have a very good understanding of sort of what's been showing results in the current patch.
Well, there's the Ezreal taken away. I did wonder if we're going to see that, as Rabstar has quite enjoyed the Ezreal. I say quite enjoyed. These are pretty good performances on that. But it looks like they don't want to first pick it, so they're going to leave it open. The set has been left open, and typically only Angel has first picked the set if he can. So maybe Demise look to ban that away. We'll have to see what their final ban's going to be. It's going to be the Graves.
Interesting to me. I probably would have gone for something like the Karthus and then traded set off of Volibear would be typically what I'd look to do, but guess that's what they're going for.
All right, what do Enclave want to go for then? Yeah, that I completely forgot that the Karthus is open. It's been banned so much I kind of forget it's a power pick. But there is the set locked in for only Angel. Pretty much expected really with him. Over to Demise, like you said, the Volibear you can trade it off. The Karthus is open as well. They actually have the pick of the litter right now.
So I could see Volibear Ashe or Volibear Karthus being a really strong rotation here. I think Proxy in particular is probably the best Ashe I've seen so far in the league. Had a huge performance on the champion, so wouldn't be too surprised to take that. They do pick up the Ashe, and then it just made complete sense for the Volibear to come in here. Super strong in the jungle, super strong in the top lane. Instead, they actually opt to go for the Olaf in this situation. So a lot of ability to engage on people, run them down between these two champions, a lot of slow potential, and kind of good skirmishing power as well. You throw the arrow down, Olaf gets on top of them, Ashe can easily catch up and just ensure you're going to chase someone down and pick them off. Now for Enclave, the question's still going to be, are they going to go in that Karthus direction? Are they going to look for something like the Aphelios? Instead, it's going to secure the Azir for Jacob. I really like this as a denial away from Beely specifically, and it also gives a bit of mobility and a safety net against the likes of an Olaf and Ashe. Kind of difficult for them to get on top. And then this could just be the Aphelios coming out for Rabstar. To wait and see, though.
So it does decide to lock in. Obviously, the Orianna has been left open, so we have seen Beely play as well. So I kind of expect this to be the Orianna pick here for Beely. And then just focus out those supports. Obviously, that Volibear is also open as well if Demise want to pick something up like that to deal with only Angel. But Rifty's pool is big enough that even if the Volibear is banned away, I feel like he'll have something prepared right now.
Yeah,
so I feel like the Orianna is actually a really nice pick here.
Potentially, I think that's just one to offer. You could also go for your support if you're concerned about the Nautilus. Maybe something like the Thresh could be an option here, but they will go for the Orianna, want to secure that mid lane scaling. Also good follow-up on top of your engage with the Ashe. Now, with Enclave, obviously, we know where the sets go in jungle or top. It's not going to support. They've secured that Nautilus, and I think here I'd look to see things like the Thresh targeted away to pair up with Proxy and give them some safety. Maybe the Tom Kench, or maybe something that's going to offer a bit more scaling. For Demise, I would look at the AD carry role. Do you want to take away the Karthus? Are you scared Rabstar brings that out? Or are you going to look more towards things like the Aphelios and just deny that one away from them? Because Enclave would have a great composition just to kite back if they have Azir and Aphelios.
Well, the Camille ban comes out from Demise. So to me, that says that they're not necessarily convinced that this is going to be top lane set could go in the jungle. Fresh is going to get banned away from Enclave. Pretty much expect to see them kind of thin out that jungle pool a little bit more.
Support pool, you mean?
Support pool, sorry.
Yeah, I think it gives a lot of safety to the Ashe, who is obviously immobile. I think the set and the Nautilus are a huge threat to Proxy in this situation, so limiting the effectiveness of that Thresh is big. Aphelios ban away makes complete sense. We talked about that a bit before. And then this Silas coming out. So this is something Rifty brought out against Eminem. And actually, we saw Aragon pick Ornn into the Silas, which is worst case scenario. But this indicates to me we might see a Ornn pickup from Enclave. Normally, the Ornn struggles against Trundle, but that was banned away first rotation. The reason Silas does so well is because he heals enough that the Ornn can never really threaten him with a kill. And on top of that, you steal his ult, and you basically get an Ornn ult with higher AP, which is really huge. And it looks like Demise opting to go for a bit more scaling here. Lulu pairs beautifully with Yorlaf and also can buff that Ashe up and has things like the polymorph to deal with the engage potential.
So now it's into Enclave's camp. What do they want to pick up? They need to get an AD carry. Neither a jungler or top laner, depending on what they decide to do with this set. Rifty obviously will be getting himself the counter pick in the top lane. So it's going to be the Malphite lock-in. So that is going to confirm that the set's going in the jungle. The AD carry pool thinned out a little bit. There are still a few things left open for them.
Similar thing to the Ornn, essentially. Silas just steals your ult and gets a better version of it. And obviously, you can't itemize heavily armor against an AP champion. So, kind of indicate what they're going to pick up. And again, it provides more threat onto Proxy in this situation, Beely as well. And now we get to see the AD carries. I mean, I don't like the Kalista here. It looks like they're going to go for the Jhin. So I think this is a better option. I think you have a bit more range to play around with. If you do get that big engage, you can throw the ult down afterwards. And my issue with the Kalista was the slows would be really penalizing to you. And on top of that, if you did fall behind, you'd end up being pretty useless. So something we don't always see in the current meta, but a lot of execute damage, a lot of strength there. And now over to Demise, see what they want. A second tank would be beautiful in this situation. And Maokai will come out ahead in the matchup against the Malphite. So pretty solid pickup. I think both teams... Essentially, it's about protecting their backline, playing around their frontline engage. I think there's better tools for Enclave. I feel on the back of that Enclave, that Malphite and the Nautilus and the set. But I think Demise have some better defensive tools with the Lulu and the shielding from Beely. So yeah, a lot of strength on both sides. And honestly, I feel like this one's pretty close in terms of draft. We could see this one go in the different distance.
It really could. When we saw Rifty pick up this Maokai, that was the kind of signal the Demise were changing their play style. The Demise were kind of getting onto the level of all the top teams in the league, where Rifty, we had that interview with him after that game, and he said, if I have to play the tank and be that guy for the team, I will. He will sacrifice himself to make sure that, he has his team come out with the best chances possible of winning. He's not just the side laner who plays for himself. Rifty has shown us across this season that he is willing to be a team player, and the Maokai was the kind of the changing of the wind for Demise for me. And last time we saw him on it, it was a really stellar game. And Proxy was on the Ashe on that game as well. And that was when he actually popped off, when we started to see that Demise don't just carry through top lane, they carry through this bot lane. And I actually really like the draft from both of these teams. I think this is going to be a really explosive game. And like you were saying to me in the break, Orcs, is this game really means a lot to these two teams. Losing this game here means that if you lose, your chances actually go out of your hands, because even if you win your game tomorrow, it's dependent on what Eminem and on Envision do tomorrow in their games. Enclave and Demise both have to play London and Munster tomorrow, while Envision and I've already forgotten. Envision and Eminem have to play versus Bulldog and Barrage. So arguably easier games for them tomorrow as well. So this win is crucial for these teams.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, whoever loses this game, it really does become a little bit out of your hands, because if you do, I think it's worse in this situation for Enclave. Just because of how things are panning out. Actually, I think Enclave has a reasonably okay. Demise is a bit tricky just because of head-to-heads and such. But essentially, you lose this game, and we could see Eminem and Vision picking up wins today. And then you see tomorrow, we have these 4 teams tied, which is Demise and Vision, Enclave, Eminem. They are all playing in sequence. So none of them are playing each other. So if you're trying to get a point against one of the others, that's great. But they could pick up a point and you have no part in it, which is why if you lose this game today, there's a very real scenario where even if you win tomorrow, you could still not make it into playoffs. So by all means, you need this victory here if you want to keep things at least somewhat secure. If you're not watching the other games with bated breath, you want to come out with the win in this one.
What a way to end probably one of the most exciting tournaments I've ever got to cast. It's been so close. It's been so fun to watch. Demise versus Enclave, everything on the line for these teams. as they take to the Rift for our first game, the final week of the UKLC.
Could see some level 1 invades here. I honestly feel like the side of Demise with the likes of the Olaf and the Ashe actually have a really powerful level 1. But for now, looks like they're not necessarily opting into anything.
Yeah, looks like a defensive start across the line here. Both junglers be starting on their top side of the map, which maybe means we might see some shenanigans towards the bot side early on in this game. Because actually PFI looks to try and spot out Rafa. I don't think either of them saw each other though, so they are just going to step away.
So for me, this game, I feel like Enclave have a little bit more pressure on them to get ahead early. There's a few more scaling tools on Demise's side I'm worried about. But it's not to say the game is lost if they don't come out ahead. One thing they do have is really powerful backline punish with the likes of the Malphite. So even if they are a little bit behind, they should still be able to find favorable team fights. And it's not like they get outskilled massively. I just think the likes of the Lulu, the Ashe, and the Maokai, and Orianna as well just make Demise a little bit more powerful and easy to execute in the later stages. But that being said, gonna have close eye on the junglers in this game, see where they put their pressure down first. You see Jacob already putting quite a lot onto Beely there.
Yeah, he's able to shove him in early. Shogun also went for an optimistic hook. They do have that level 2 first, so the flash comes in. Chromax takes a lot of damage from the exhaust and ignite, as now Proxy's the one getting locked down. 1 versus 2 advantage does not go in their favor. They have to flash away. Might be a little over eager to fight there when they didn't have the level.
Yeah, I think the critical mistake there was staying long enough so Shogun could get another hook in, and then essentially just meant he burned the flash from Proxy there. A lot of damage coming down, and typically in these early exchanges, there's only so much you can do with the Jhin because it obviously runs out of auto attacks when he's reloading. But staying for an extra reload, for an extra round of CC from Nautilus is very risky. Now, PFI is running in here, and they do have the slows.
They do have those slows to work with. PFI looking for the axe onto Rabstar is just about going to click him. Rabstar flashes away.
Honestly, just a really nice timing from PFI. You can see him playing around that ward in that river brush, just staying outside the vision. As soon as Rabstar and Shogun stepped up, he put the damage down. And the flash is nice, don't get me wrong, getting that from Rabstar. But the important thing is it gives complete lane control over to the side of Demise. They're able to push this one out. There's not really too much that Enclave can do about it. And it gives them a bit of breathing room where things were initially looking very rough.
Well, just going to zone Jacob off a little bit here on the wave. PFI actually going straight up towards the second Scuttle Crab for himself. Looking to deny Rafa as much as possible. Rafa's actually looking to see if he can make some action break out in the bot side.
Oh, this is actually really bad for Rafa in this situation. I mean, Proxy and Chromax managed to get the shove in. They're losing essentially nothing here. And Rafa wastes a lot of time. He comes bot lane. If you look on the map, no camps on the bot side for PFI apart from his wolves, and you don't want to invade that deep. Scuttle's already gone. PFI is just got a massive advantage here over Rafa. Now they're looking for only Angel.
PFI actually, once again, spotting a ward going down and playing in that fog of war. I've been really impressed by his play around the vision so far this game. It's just going to head back towards his jungle, though, as only Angel is able to walk away. And PFI just going to go pick up some of his camps. Rifty being a little overeager there. Is going to lose out on that trade, but obviously does have the sustain from his passive.
Yeah, actually managed to get a cheater recall in earlier there. So he is a little bit behind in XP, but obviously has the wave crashing in. Does have that extra ruby crystal as well as a Doran's ring. Now, this could be a dangerous dive. He was very low.
Yeah, Rifty gets the seismic shove off. Face breaker, locks the root down, flashes out. Rafa takes aggro, and first blood picked up for only Angel. Has to flash away from the last tower shot. As Enclave get it top lane.
You know, I'm going to be honest, Rifty was so low on HP there. Trading 1 flash for 2 and then dying is best case scenario. Ultimately, the mistake was made when he went in for that heavy trade with only Angel. Tanked a lot of minions, got himself low. You should have been aware that PFI is not on your side of the map. You're not going to get any assistance. And ultimately, it was a pretty costly mistake. But he did manage to at least force a lot of investment from only Angel Rafa. And PFI can now just take the dragon on the bot side.
A nice and early dragon as well. It does mean that if Demise can keep pace up, we could be looking at a 21-minute soul. It's going to be an ocean or cloud.
And honestly, in this situation, Cloud isn't too bad. There's a lot of champions who can benefit from that. I'm looking at Maokai and Olaf. Really nice to have that extra movement speed when you pop your ultimates. And it's pretty true on the other side with the likes of a Nautilus. Set not so much. And Malphite, obviously, once you've ulted, you're already in. But Ocean would be the big winner for either side. And I think when scaling is similar in regards to these teams, I know I said Demise a little bit ahead, but it's not really clear-cut. Getting the dragon early, getting a soul on the cards early can be a massive threat to the enemy team.
Feely continuing to have some problems in the mid lane versus Jacob. Is holding out, but obviously, like you said, has some scaling options, and his team fighting, especially if he can land some good shockwaves, could be pretty big for him. As Rifty, not actually level 6 yet versus Only Angel, has got a pretty big wave to crash into him though, so he is going to get it. Actually, throws the ulti in. Only Angel can take an additional tower shot there. As Rifty actually just running him down, throws out the slows. Almost got another W up, so he can actually chase for a little bit more here. About to get Q as well. And the Angel just getting bullied by Rifty in the lane.
Heavily chunks him out, and he basically in this situation, Only Angel either has to reset and teleport, or he's going to potentially miss out some CSCA getting crashed in the tower. So a nice trade. Only Angel does hold the ultimate in that situation, and he has TP, so able to offer that one, but it does mean there's a little bit of a window where Malphite isn't instantly able to act on that. Now, we do see a swap coming in from Enclave. They have priority in the bot lane. They are missing it in the top lane, which is my only concern. But the big thing is you can now play aggressively for this Herald. And because you have TP from Only Angel, you know you're going to have advantage on that side of the map. So I could actually see Demise just looking to pressure bot lane in return in this scenario. I think swapping might actually be a mistake.
It looks like that's what they're doing, although Proxy is now going for a recall. It's pretty slow, though. They're able to shove the wave in as Only Angel catches it. We'll have to see whether or not they actually do decide to go back towards the top lane or back off. They're running up there, so it looks like the lane swap is going to go ahead. Shogun gets spotted out on this ward, and the Demise actually going to be pretty slow to this play.
My concern in this situation is that Only Angel with TP on a Malphite is just so threatening. You're losing this Herald. It's a miracle if you manage to contest this Herald. And so you're stopping topside, essentially just to stop Enclave from making pressure. But you could have countered it. You had a situation bot lane where you knew the wave top was not in a good situation because it was crashing against the tower. So Grabstar and Shogun would take a little bit of time before they could do anything.
Oh,
and then on top of that, I mean, yeah, they're looking for this contest. This is so risky.
This is very risky, getting collapsed on all fronts already. Rifty's joined up with the team, so not in there with the teleport. Enchanted Crystallara comes out as the shockwave lands onto Rafa. The hook comes out. The team fight is on. In goes the showstopper by Rafa. He's instantly taken down. Only Angel on that flank, looking for his ultimate as everyone gets caught out by the Nature's Grasp. Only the ult lands onto one as it's Rifty to tank it up. And Only Angel will be taken down. Demise just walk away with the team fight.
Yeah, it looks like ultimately Enclave caught sleeping in that situation. Felt like they were confident to go for that play. You saw the bot lane up towards the top side, slow to rotate. And also the TP from Only Angel a little bit late. And Demise, confidence is key. You know, I said I had my concerns about them swapping a match. They apparently didn't, and they execute really effectively in that scenario. Only Angel only going in for the ult after 2 people were down. Just never going to win that.
I genuinely think he went into the ult, because if you look where he ulted to, he actually went to go pick up the Herald. He knew it was a lost fight. He knew it was a lost cause, but he wanted to make sure that they at least got away with something. So I think that ult was actually just so he could pick the Herald up and maybe return with a tower or some plates in response. But this does actually slingshot Demise ahead for now, as Rifty just continuing to whack away at that top lane turret and gets himself some plates. He's going to just go back to base. Not got his teleport yet. And we'll have to see if Only Angel just slaps his Rift Herald down to try and get this tower as quick as possible.
And again, there's always going to be scenarios where Enclave can come back into this game. But it does get a bit concerning if they are falling behind. Whenever you're against the likes of a Lulu and an Orianna who have so much shielding, and there's an Ashe Olaf to pair up, especially if the Olaf does get strong early, it can be really scary. Now, next dragon spawning up soon. You can see PFI moving down already to be in position. And critically, there's no time pressure on this one for Demise in this situation. They can wait a little bit for that TP from Rifty to be available. But it looks like Enclave are just saying, we're not contesting this. We're not going to have the TP soon, so instead we're looking for Rifty.
Rifty does spot them out with the help of the Hawk shot as Jacob gets slowed. So Rifty knows what's going on. Gets showstoppered. Throws out the ultimate. Rafa's going to tank the tower shots as the seismic shuffles there. Rifty 1 versus 3 gets the kill as he's looking to sustain for the moment. Is finally taken down. Rifty, you beast!
Yeah, just huge plays coming out there. Essentially, Rafa went in. The wave had already been thinned out by Rifty, and he wasn't able to get out of tower range even with the flash. So good moves from the Maokai there. And Beely going to try and defend this one. He just had the shockwave to clear the wave, but oh.
Yeah, he's already taken a lot of damage. Shockwave onto only Angel. When Beely finds the outplay again! Enclave are just throwing themselves into Demise!
Oh, it's a disaster for Enclave. Beely goes up to defend, manages to survive the damage from only Angel, and they don't even get the tower, even with that Herald. And remember, that Herald fight, they lost disastrously. And if they're not even getting a tower out of it, it's just even worse. We're now seeing a 1.3k gold lead for Demise. As I said that, Jacob just equalized it to a degree, but still a big goal lead for Demise, and critically they already have 2 dragons in the bag at this point. It's huge for them,
and that turret survived all of that as well. Got pretty low, but it didn't go down. And that does mean that first turret blood is still technically available for Demise, as Chromax is going to take a couple of shots on the final
ambitious
curtain.
Pretty ambitious. I think the current state of Jhin, especially when if you look at Rabstar's items, you only have a crit cloak and no AD. You really don't do much damage with the ultimate until they're low HP. So not really sure what the game plan was there. And Enclave seems like it wasn't really just a fluke last week. They are looking as if they are struggling so far in this game.
There really are these plates. Just about to ping. Beely does get a plate.
Yeah, 160 gold in the pocket as well. And there's been quite a few plates burnt across the board by the side of Demise.
I'd like to have a little look, actually, at the individual gold, see where it's all sitting. Rifty up 300 gold over only Angel. Mid, actually down. Jacob is doing a good job, mainly through the CS lead he's got to keep himself ahead of Beely. But PFI, actually, for the moment, maybe looking to spot out Rafa. Rifty knows where he is, and they've got the Scryers to work with.
I think Jacob literally needs to be the big carry for the team, because at the moment it's looking a little bit rough for everyone else around him. And again, it's early days, but 2.5 minutes until that next dragon. Enclave are going to feel like they have to contest that one, otherwise Soul will be on the horizon. It's looking a bit rough. Unless they can find this backline access, unless they can punish Proxy and Beely, could be concerning. And both of those two have their flashes available. So if you go in with a Malphite ult and it gets flashed out, it's going to be a really rough fight for you.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really rough. Now, Blade the Ruined King almost finished for Proxy. Stormrazor finished up for Rabstar, so he has hit his first item. This wave's going to get shoved in by Jacob, but Beely now got the mana from the blue buff. Should be okay. Looks like Rifty actually just going once again for a 1v1 versus only Angel. And Angel just not doing any damage to Rifty at this point. He's got the buildings of that Abyssal Mask, and he's just way too tanky for only Angel to deal with.
I mean, that's one of the things with a Malphite, is that you get more damage by building armor. But you're not going to build armor against a Maokai, so you just end up in a really rough scenario. It's like, they're kind of similar in ways. It's like Malphite's the one who wants to build all the armor, and Maokai is the one who's happy to build a ton of MR and does really well into casters, whereas only Angel's the anti-AD carry. And if they do go up against each other, Maokai will have the advantage. So pretty heads-up pick from Rifty in that situation. It has meant that even though he's been targeted a bit, he's been able just to fight it back.
Looks like the second Rift Herald is going to get started up by Demise, however, as PFI should be able to pick this up. And Rifty may just get himself first turret blood before the Herald's even taken down.
Wow. That's something, I'll say that.
That's Rifty, that is.
Even on the tank, he's still trying to be a menace in the side lane. But ultimately, it's just looking really rough now for the side of Enclave. They've lost that Herald. They've already lost first tower. They're trying to make a play bot lane, but some defensive movement from Chromax and Proxy has mitigated that. But what Enclave do have is vision control around this dragon. So we talked about the importance of that third one, because obviously if Demise get it, they're on soul point. From then on, you have to fight every single elemental Drake, or you risk giving the soul over. So they've set up around this, but there is that ward in the middle, giving a little bit of vision, and Demise can just make their way down.
Yeah, there's a little bit of vision available to them. Rifty finished up the Abyssal Mask, got himself the Merc Treads as well. So Rifty now in a point where it's feeling pretty tanky. Also, we'll be able to teleport into the team fights as both Only Angel and him have their teleports available. Shogun's actually been found out by PFI. The Enchanted Crystallara is going to land. Ragnarok gets used and the teleports are on. That's the Wild Growth onto the Olaf. As now it's Rafa in trouble. Really holding the shockwave for the moment. As Rifty slides in, throws out the Nature's Grass, gets pulled back by the Showstopper, but Rafa on the run. Rifty flashes forward to secure the kill. Only Angel looking for proxy. Feely gonna get the flash out. That's a big ultimate coming in. Only Angel manages to turn the tide here. The curtain has been called, and Demise are so low. The shuffle by Jacob is huge, but the axe from PFI shuts him down. Demise do not lose anybody.
How did everyone survive in that situation? Jacob's so close to being the hero with the turnaround play, and Only Angel with this huge 3-man ultimate, and it just still was not enough. The shielding coming out, the healing from Demise keeps them alive, and now they win the team fight. They're going to get mid-tower, and they get the dragon.
Oh, man. That looks so good for Enclave. It looked like Jacob had the tidy up there, but he was unable to find it. The Demise getting away by the skin of their teeth. It should be pretty big buys here. And we are 4 minutes away from a Cloud Soul onto Demise. They've got themselves a massive gold lead. They've got 2 towers up. You can see the gold graph actually on your screens right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's massive. And for me, Cloud Soul is, in a lot of ways, I feel like a win more soul. You know, if you're behind, it's not going to suddenly make you have more damage. It's not going to mean you can turn around those situations. It's not going to mean that, you know, Rifty's going to be unkillable. But it does mean that you can chase down even better. You can kite away even better. And obviously there's situations that when that works when you're behind. But I think for a team in the situation Demise is, when they're already up in gold, when they're already super strong, having that extra movement speed, that extra engage potential just makes things extremely dangerous for Enclave. And we talked about at the start of this game how important it is. If Enclave lose this one, then even winning tomorrow's game does not guarantee they're into playoffs. So they're looking for a pick now.
Yeah, Chromax just wild growths himself, and he is outie. He's
Yeah,
burned the ultimate out from the Lulu.
It's something, but it's not significant enough to be in a comfortable spot. And Enclave, almost 5,000 gold behind now. When the scaling edge is on Demise's side, it's going to be really difficult. And my big concern especially is at this point of the game, Rifty and PFI are just quite a bit too tanky. And ultimately, Rabstar does not do damage effectively against tanks. Jin's biggest issue is dealing with tanks. And that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to be hitting Rifty and PFI. And even Jacob, he's not at the point where he has, you know, a Leandries or Haunting Guys. He's not going to be able to shred through them so fast. Doesn't have any penetration. So 3 minutes until that dragon spawns. I don't think the situation's going to change by then. We need a miracle team fight from Enclave if they're going to deny this soul. And really, it needs to come from Only Angel and Rafa finding great backline access.
Only Angel not going to be able to find any backline access if he's dead. Rifty got underneath the tower for him and everything. Rifty actually doesn't have too much armor, so that tower did hurt him as well. But
yeah, not sure on Only Angel's build path here. Going the Sheen. I feel like the Spectre's Carl would have been the better pickup. Just he had some magic resist against Rifty and Beely. I mean, he already has Yama from the Sunfire, and I think Sheen isn't really going to change things. You get a bit of extra burst damage, but realistically,
I'm assuming this is he exists solely to kill proxy and to deal with proxy.
If that's your role, then you should have gone AP. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, if he was AP, that last ult would have actually been the team fighting winning ult for Enclave.
Exactly. You know, like if you're gonna commit to something, commit to it. You know, either be able to hold Rifty in the side lane or be able to one-shot the Ashe. You can't do both, as we did manage to see.
You can go Death Cap third item, it's fine.
Yeah, what a pickup. Just go Medjai's. It's like if you win the next team fight, you're gonna have a ton of stacks. If you don't, well, game was lost anyway.
That's the true gamblers. The true gambler build.
Yep.
No,
Now,
Medjais doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you won 3. It's gonna work.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing is I sometimes see people buy Medjais when they're already hyper-fed. And it's like, you've already got a massive bounty. And it just means it's even more threatening if you get killed. You've already got the kills. Like, you should have bought it early. That's why you buy it when you're behind. And you're like, look, game is probably doomed. But if it isn't, I'm about to pop off.
All right, 55 seconds until that Cloud Soul comes up. Last time, it was a very close fight. Enclave just about not able to kill a single member. And that was off the back of them having really good vision control. If we quickly zoom it out, you'll actually see that vision control not very happily in favor as Rab starts to cleanse. They just don't have the vision to actually move into this jungle.
Yes.
Enclave is just going to give Cloud Soul up, unfortunately.
They should let Rafa only Angel check it instead of Rabstar. But ultimately, at least they're aware Demise are there. You can look across Demise and you can see everyone bar Chromax has got their 2 items. Some pretty big spikes coming in, especially for the Ashe. Maokai as well feels pretty unkillable. So it's not even the fact they have control of the river. They're also pushing up mid lane and taking that tower. And Enclave just happened to back away in the situation. Now, we do have the Haunting guys from Jacob for some more sustained damage. Rabstar's got his 2nd item. But I think you're right. They don't think this is enough. They're just going to end up giving this one away, which is never a good feeling. Now, if this was an Ocean Soul, I would call the game over at this point. It's not an Ocean Soul, but it definitely is not a good thing to be giving up a Cloud Soul.
If I was Rabstar right now, a Ragnaroking Olaf of Cloud Soul is terrifying. There is no way you're getting away from him.
With Rifty as well. Like, I feel like the Cloud Soul is really nice on PFI and Rifty, because obviously it's a no-brainer. With the Olaf, you get even more movement speed when you ult. With Rifty, it's, when you throw down your ultimate, you can then use the movement speed to chase someone down, root them, and then the ultimate collides and gets the 2nd root as well, which is a really nice setup. Essentially, you can throw that ult down at any time just to give you the extra movement speed to chase. It's great on proxy as well. You throw that ultimate, and then you can move in. And it looks like I've actually had a DC from one of the supports. Not exactly sure, but hopefully we'll get back to that soon. A rough one for Enclave. And again, I'm highlighting it. We talked so much about how important this game was. These 2 teams are neck and neck. Whoever wins this one is likely going to seal the other one's fate. Now, there's still chances, there's still hope, but it becomes a lot more difficult. You're basically in a situation where you almost definitely have to win that game tomorrow, and you're hoping that the teams you're tied with, the likes of Envision and Envision and M&M are losing their games so that you can sort of keep yourselves in with a chance, but it's not a good feeling. So Enclave need a miracle in this scenario. They've given up the soul. Baron is likely going to be the next objective. Now, the one thing I will say is that because Demise on red side, taking Baron is a little bit trickier. You have to be corralled in the pit, set you up for a really nice Azir Malphite combo, but they don't have to go into the pit. They don't have to start Baron. All you need to do is you just clear the vision, wait for someone to face check, engage with Ashe Arrow, with Maokai flank, with whatever, and then win the team fight, win the game. So that's what Demise should be looking to do. Ultimately, Enclave, they need to find a mistake. They need to find an angle. They need to find the motherful Malphite ultimates. They want to find an advantage in this one.
It is going to be a big wombo combo for Enclave to be able to pull this game back. It's not impossible. They do have the tools. The question is Demise, well, not really the question. The point is Demise also have the tools to disengage, to peel back, to turn a play around. Enclave are being able to pick... Enclave are able to pick a few turrets up, at least, for themselves, to keep themselves somewhat relevant. Baron's up, and Demise are looking to go for it.
I mean, the gold lead is a little bit shorter than before, so there is that going for them, but it's going to be started up by Rifty and PFI here. They can tank it almost infinitely. I feel like you have to sort of head over and start fishing this one out. You can see pings come in. It's still quite healthy because the tanks were the only ones started on it. They need to approach though. They're going so slow.
Okay, they now know it's on. It's gone. Here comes the curtain call. The Ashe Arrow lands onto Jacob. Massive ultimate by Only Angel, but Jacob's already zoned out the fight. Proxy doing so much damage to him. Proxy untouched. Able to find himself a killing spree as he takes out Only Angel, and Enclave running to the winds as Shogun is sacrificed and Rifty smashes him down. Demise, get Baron, get the kills, and it feels pretty much doomed at this point.
I mean, the approach was just so slow from Enclave. You got a sense that they're going for this one, and I know you're concerned about the engage, but ultimately it was a disjointed approach. You saw Only Angel going with a pretty big, impactful ultimate, but no one was there to follow up, and the Baron had already died. So now Demise, it's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's at this point. I feel like that was a last-ditch effort from Enclave.
Jacob literally got zoned off. He got Ash arrowed, half health by just Proxy, and then had to walk away. Meanwhile, Proxy then turns back around and joins the rest of his team for the big team fight. It was very disjointed by Enclave. And not what they need when they are this close. They're closing out the season. I mean, there's only 2 games left for them, and they are on track to lose against the Demise here.
And it's not like they're getting reprieved tomorrow, because tomorrow they're playing up against London. That is not an easy matchup. Speaking of difficulty...
I think Shogun's dead. PFI is going to pop
He's
the
just so
Ragnarok.
fast.
He's got the movement speed. The Ragnarok actually won't pop him back. Thanks to that, but Proxy's able to secure himself a Rampage kill. They committed a lot to kill the support.
But
I actually don't think that's the end of the world. They've still got Baron. Only Angel's off in the side lane, trying his darndest to get onto a turret in time, but he is not going to win versus 5 members of Demise with Baron.
Yeah, and that's the thing. With Shogun down, you're even weaker than you already were. It's just the power of this Cloud Soul on top of this composition. If they want to kill you, they will. They will chase you down. Now, they're going to be looking towards the Nexus turrets here, so this could be a chance for an engage from Enclave.
That is going to be the showstopper. They catch out to Proxy. Shockwave gets used as the ultimate comes out by Jacob. Rapstar firing away. Untouched at the moment. Good hook comes out by Shogun. More damage is coming in for Demise, though, and Enclave actually getting zoning away here. The curtain gets called, and Proxy looks to tank it up. Rapstar whips out on the 3rd one. Almost kills PFI. Looks for the W. Doesn't quite find it onto PFI, and they actually forced Demise away from their towers, away from their Nexus.
You know
Demise are not done yet.
Oh!
Oh!
Rapstar with the snipe. Go, Max. Of course, sleeping there a little bit. So they do get something, but that was what I like to call a gold lead fight. That is a fight that Enclave probably should have won, but they just did not have the damage. You could see how many low HP bars they were. It was a really nice engage from Rafa. He ulted Proxy in. Only Angel waits for Proxy to flash, then instantly ults him and Chromax. The setup was really nice. The fight was really good. It was in a good spot for Enclave, but the damage just was not there. And that is the problem with this gold differential between these 2 teams. And that's why this game is looking so rough, because if you can't win a team fight in those circumstances, what hope do you have?
Elder Dragon and another fight like that is honestly Enclave's only hope here. If they can somehow get Elder Dragon and then sweep Demise, that's their hope. Bases are going to come in, and all the teams know that this Elder is the final fight. It either extends the life of Enclave in this game, or it seals the fate for them, and Demise will be able to close out the game. Bases are coming in. Gold's going to get spent. It's really do or die for both of these teams.
Here it is, though. Here's the retry. I'm going to come in with it.
Okay.
Elder Dragon Steel. I don't care who does it, but someone on the side of Oh, never mind.
Oh, Jacob, good shuffle.
As I was saying, Elder Dragon Steel. I don't care who from. Someone. Rafa's got Hex Flash. Maybe Rabstar with his Deadly Flourish. And then you win a team fight and you just end. And then you just forget this game ever happened.
Well, Rifty's going to slide in, gets himself hooked. The Sandstone just doing a lot. Deadly Flourish comes
damage.
out by Rabstar. He's going to back it up with the curtain calls. Rifty takes a lot of damage, but not really enough. The Baron's already low. Rafa, watch Rafa. He's got that Hex Flash coming up in a second. Can he channel it? Can he get in space? Rifty, half health for the moment. Rafa can't steal it. That's the Elder Dragon for Demise. And I think that may just have sealed the deal as Rabstar looking to run away from Rifty. They slow him down temporarily. But Rabstar does not have the movement speed. Has to flash the wall with Shogun. Just about able to survive the gift of the Elder.
Oh, it's burning down, but he just
coming in. Only Angel has to make this miracle ultimate, and I just don't see it happening. They got to defend as tower number 1 goes down. Tower number 2 being focused out. Rafa is on the flank as he's getting focused away. That's the ulti onto the carries. Jacob comes in. Massive shuffle backwards. Proxy goes golden though, and he's untouched. as he gets himself an Ash Arrow onto the backline. Rafa's unable to make his way forward, and PFI will zone him away. One more gift of the Elder will secure the deal as Demise take out Enclave.
Enclave finally getting the combo they need, but it's not enough. The gold lead too big, the Elder Dragon too impactful, and Demise are gonna take the win.
Beautiful game from Demise. And it felt like Enclave, they hit their marks at the wrong time. It was just a little bit too little, too late. What a wombo from Jacob, though, and Only Angel. Beautiful ending, but unfortunately it fell short. Like I said, the Elder Drake was too much for them, and it was able to cut them down in that team fight.
I think the front to back was perfectly executed by Demise. I think Enclave had a little bit more pressure on them. They needed to be a bit more further ahead early. They also needed to find the backline access, which is, it tends to be harder for a team to challenge backlines than just sit there and defend it. And ultimately, Demise came in with these team fights like around the Herald where they were so supremely confident. They were just like, yeah, it doesn't matter if your top lane's got TP, we're going to group with ours, we're going to force a fight. And they ended up coming out ahead. And Enclave just still looking a little bit lost. It feels like for a long time now in the season, they've looked a bit directionless at times.
Yeah.
And now this could be them out of playoffs if they are so reliant on not only winning that game tomorrow against London, but the rest of the results throughout the day. They are looking at the likes of M&M and Envision, and they are hoping that they manage to lose. Otherwise, things could be really precarious.
And M&M and Envision have to lose versus either Bulldog or Barrage. A complete brain fart today. They have to lose versus, you know, one of the bottom two teams. Can they do it? I don't know, but it could. That's their only hope. They have to beat London and then hope that M&M or Envision lose tomorrow versus the two teams who have had probably the roughest season so far. It's all up in the air for them. It's out of their hands. For Demise, they're still at this. A little bit still has to go for them in their favor for them to be able to actually take third or fourth, but we'll have to find out. We are going to cut to a quick break though, and we'll be back with an interview after this. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UK League Championship. We are getting ready for an interview with Proxy, but he's not quite ready yet, so we have a little bit more time to talk about that game and what that really means for the rest of the group, especially for the rest of the middle of the pack. Those 4 teams that are currently tied as of the beginning of today. Not quite the same case anymore for Enclave, as they did lose this game, but man, that was a really, really fun game. And it was off the back of Rifty not playing a side lane carry and, playing more for the team on the Maokai. Not that he wasn't a side lane nuisance, because he was completely smashing only Angel. He got first turret blood solo, all the plates as well on his own. Like, he had a really, really solid game.
Yeah, and I think we've seen this big transformation from Rifty, where he has transitioned into a player who is more willing to play with his team, and he's setting them up pretty well. He was strong in the side lane, even though he's not obviously on a scaling side laner, but he was a massive threat in those team fights, finding those engages. And I think we saw a really cleanly executed front to back from Demise. It felt like even when there were these perfect scenarios, perfect setups for Enclave, we still saw just really solid performances from these backliners. And there just wasn't enough pressure to be able to put down from the likes of Enclave. And now, as we're talking about before, they're kind of relying on other results. Ultimately, the London vs M&M game isn't actually that important for them, because if London end up losing, then Enclave can beat them in the head-to-head by winning tomorrow. If M&M end up losing, then Enclave could end up being tied with them after tomorrow. The more important thing is when we sort of look towards Envision. Envision are a team that Enclave have a 2-0 head-to-head against. They want them to lose games so they can catch them. If Envision win both of their games, that's where it gets pretty scary. So essentially, Enclave are looking towards the other teams to be dropping games at this point. There's still a good chance to make playoffs. I do want to say that. We kind of made it seem all doom and gloom. But there's a very real chance that even if they win tomorrow, they still don't end up getting into playoffs. And that is the scariest thing, I feel. For me, if I was playing on team, it's the fact that even if you win all your games, there's no guarantee you're going to playoffs is never a good feeling.
It's incredibly tight. Now this is more your area of expertise. I never jump into the maths of all this stuff because I just confuse myself. Munster, we know, are locked. They're not locked into first, but they're at least locked into playoffs. What's going on with London? If all the teams below them get a 2-0 week, what happens? And they lose tomorrow. What happens to them? Can they actually be knocked out, or have they got enough head-to-heads? Like, my brain is a little fried on that. What's the deal for London right now?
So essentially, they need 3 teams to finish above them. As of now, Enclave could finish above them. Demise could finish above them. Envision could also finish above them. And M&M could finish above them. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure that most of those could all happen at the same time, because Demise could win tomorrow against Munster. Envision could win both of their games. Enclave needs to beat London to sort of make this a reality. And then they would be tied and actually ahead in the head-to-head. And M&M could win. And so everyone would be ahead of London in terms of head-to-head or other arrangements. It might end up being an aggregate head-to-head, but even there, they would be in a rough spot because Enclave are 2-0 against them if they win tomorrow. So London aren't safe by any means. If they win their game today, then they are locked into playoffs because having the 9 points would be enough. And as well as the fact that London would end up beating that M&M, one of their oppositions. So that is essentially the spot you want to be in to be somewhat comfortable. We could still see them actually tie up, I believe, maybe be in the head-to-head.
Yeah.
So that would be my concern, actually. No, if they beat M&M, they're 2-0 against them. Yeah, so that there could still be a tiebreaker scenario against the likes of Envision or Demise. So even if they win today, they are not firmly guaranteed playoffs, but their odds become very good. So ultimately, London just need to keep their foot on the pedal. They could still catch Munster, but they could still end up missing out on playoffs if they do drop both their games.
Well, we'll have a chat about London after the break, but for the moment, let's celebrate the victory we did just have. We have Proxy standing by for an interview. Proxy, I know you're not on camera, but can you hear me? You there, buddy?
Yeah, hello.
Hey, how you doing, mate? How do you feel after that win?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm actually really happy that we won.
Yeah, I bet. This is quite an important week for you guys, and it was also, I'd say, it was a relatively hard week. You're playing against a team who you were tied with in the standings, and you're also playing versus Munster tomorrow. Right. What was going on for the kind of preparation for this week for you guys? What were you focusing on getting ready for the final week of the UKLC?
Okay, so this week we mostly were preparing our draft. Like, our coaches and all of our members especially put some effort into draft, and we were prepared for pretty much anything, I think. And the enemies drafted we expected to, and that's what led us to victory, I think.
So for you guys as a team, I think there was a couple of nice early games in the season, but then this big rough patch in the middle. What do you think has been like the biggest change for you that has gotten you to where you are now?
I think when I joined the team, we had some issues because I was a new member on the team and we were not on the same page. But eventually, as the week were gone by, like we practiced more and we talked to each other, and eventually we had a better results. And
yeah. So you guys obviously, there's a lot of teams tied currently. We're on the final week. You guys are now on track to make playoffs. It's not guaranteed at this point. There's still so much up in the air. But let's talk hypotheticals. You guys make playoffs. Where do you guys realistically see yourselves placing? Do you feel with the changes and the improvements that you guys are a first place kind of team, or where are your goals right now? Maybe not your goals, but where realistically, how confident are you in how well you'll do in playoffs?
well, last weeks we just wanted to, our goal was to reach playoffs and see where we go from there. But we're having some win streak, and everyone on the team is feeling confident and ready. And I think we'll aim for the first or second spot, I think.
Awesome. Well,
so, I'll add one last one. So tomorrow you're playing against Munster. I've talked quite a bit about how I feel like Blue Spirits and Jeppehau are the best performing bot lane at the moment, but I think you have an opportunity to challenge them. How do you think that bot lane matchup will go?
I think we have a lot of potential. I want to respect our opponents because I think they're also good, but I'm expecting for Chromax to 1v9, and then we can do it for sure.
Well, Proxy, it's great chatting to you. Unfortunately, we do have to cut this a little bit short as we did have those technical issues, but thank you very much for joining us here for this interview. Now, guys, we are going to cut to a quick break, and when we're back with our second game of the day. It's London taking on M&M Academy. We'll see you in a second.